Hey there, so I wanted to share what's going on behind the scenes here in my studio, what I'm cooking up, so my upcoming embroidery kits that I'm making, the process of getting those ready to go, the sew your own pocket altar zine that I made for those, and the pocket altars and cosmic charms that I've been making to help me get these kits ready and like really see what we need. And also what I've been focusing on, I'm in my what's called the 4th trimester, so that's the time when the baby is out of the womb but still so tender and just developing. It's that time when the baby is kind of on me as much as possible, nursing like 85 times a day. And also how I'm trying to make sure to give my 3-year-old daughter enough loving through this time, through this giant transition, and also be sure to be there for myself. So if you're new here, hi, I'm Christy. I'm an artist, author, and teacher. I'm the author of the book Mystical Stitches and the book The Art of Embroidery. I like a healthy dose of magic with my textile arts, and I love to keep the focus on creativity as an outlet for expression, not another opportunity to seek perfection. I gave birth to my 2nd child earlier this year, and I'm trying my very best to bring that same intention of not looking for perfection into my parenting as well. So first off, making sure I still have time for myself, time for what I love to do. So what I've been really focusing on in my me time recently has been reading. I can do this with the baby sleeping on me, and it's something that I've really lost the time to do over the last few years with a toddler who is always on. When I'm nursing or putting the baby to sleep and it's just me and him, and once he's kind of checked out and his eyes are closed, I get to catch up on a little reading. So what am I reading? I spent a good amount of time savoring the book 4,000 Weeks. I think I checked it out of the library like 3 times. It's called 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals, which is very much not what it's about. It feels like it like goes so far beyond time management. I think that he just uses that to kind of hook people in. It almost feels more like a philosophy book, to be honest with you. He goes through like just covers a bunch of different philosophies and people who have written about just time and existence and life. Highly recommend it. I also just started Cody Cook Parrott's new book, The Practice of Attention. Here is the hard copy of it. I'm reading actual hard copy, which feels incredible. I love it because it's really actionable in the beginning. Like the 2nd chapter is the attention audit. And so you really are like jumping into getting stuff done and not just reading theory, especially after reading 4,000 Weeks, which is like almost entirely theory for the first like 4,000 pages. And next up on the list is Do Nothing by Celeste Headley, I don't know how to pronounce it. So I started to see this clear theme in what I was drawn to for reading, and in also what I was turned off by. So for example, Cal Newport, the guy who did Deep Work, he wrote a book called Slow Productivity, and I started reading it, and I was like, I'm trying to get off the hamster wheel. The goal of trying to be more productive just feels like it misses the point entirely, and maybe he addresses that in the book. I didn't give it enough time. But the theme that I'm working with seems to be one of, how do I want to use my time? It's sort of like, what do I want to do with this life, or whatever that one, what is that, Mary Oliver quote? So there's really nothing like births and also deaths to make you rethink kind of everything. And our family has experienced both of those in the past 6 months. And between that and the extreme exhaustion I experienced during pregnancy, that I was going through kind of for most of last year, I was just like, as much as I love making art, being able to really be there with my kids has been something that honestly, it doesn't feel that natural to me. I have to really work at it and remind myself what a rewarding thing it is, but it feels more rewarding in the long run. So it just feels like something I want to work at being better at. And that's not to say that I'm like want to stop making art, but that when I'm doing something for my business or for my art practice, and I kind of always feel like my business is an art form, or at least that's sort of how I treat it that way. Hence why I have not grown past like a 1-person team or made like $1 million or even like 100,000 because it's still just my fun little art project. But anyways, I feel like now when I'm doing something with my art and my business, I just want it to like live a little longer. I don't want it to just be this like post it, frame it, sell it, move on to the next thing. Let's design new things. So between that new intention and last year's entry back into making kits, with the pocket altar kits I sold during the holidays, I was like, well, embroidery kits really do allow for a work of art to live on, to touch more lives, to be experienced again and again. And I still get to work on new designs. I still get to develop new imagery. They just have the potential to be more than just this one-time thing. So this month I'm going to be releasing my new pocket altar kits. I've already got the Sew Your Own Pocket Altar Zine printed, but I'm also getting these boxes printed and I'm so excited to share them. I will share more about exactly what's in the kits in the next video that I'm working on. But right now I'm just having fun mixing and matching fabrics, picking thread and bead colors, and deciding what the different themes of expression for each kit is. I even got a little experimental and was printing out tarot cards on fabric to see if I wanted to include those in the kits. I don't know. I might do that. Maybe not. So I made these Sew Your Own Pocket Altar zines last year. These are included in the kits, and I really so much enjoyed the process, again, of making a book from scratch. So if you don't know, I started my bookmaking process with these little zines I would make for my classes that I was teaching live in person. I started making these zines like over 10 years ago. They're all hand illustrated, and the artwork in it, I was doing all the layout manually and printing them at home. And I've always loved making books since I was a little kid. So being able to make like professionally published books like Mystical Stitches and The Art of Embroidery Design is truly a dream come true. But I really wanted to start hand making a book again. So having that really close, full control experience again, and having it be like sort of a short-term thing. Published books are very long-term. I did send these books to a printer instead of having them printed at home because I do not love battling my home printer, but the handmade quality still gets to come through in the illustrations. And while we're talking about this sort of like things that I used to love as a kid, I used to love writing notes and passing them with friends and making little drawings and finding all these new methods of like folding them into little pockets and making one of those little cootie catchers, I think is what they call them. It's not what we called them as kids. And having these like smaller scale little secrets. And that feels so in line with these pocket altars. They feel like these little secret notes. And if I had known about these as a kid, I totally would have made these. I have so much fun exploring these tiny pocket altar formats, and this has been going on for a minute. The zine is loosely based off of an online workshop I have on making your own pocket altars. So the zine and the workshop have some crossover, but I wanted them to both be their very own distinct experiences. So back to the zine. There's a tiny symbols library to get you inspired for what to include in your own pocket altar. And I do have the option of purchasing the zine with the patterns for all those symbols printed on some stick and stitch paper. So you can really easily just include these exact designs if you want. I had fun designing the packaging for those as well. And those I will be printing at home because those are easy to do. So there's that. There is the fun box that took me way too long to design because I'm not a graphic designer, but it was so much fun to dream up in this like 3D way. And I'm excited to share how they turn out when it is not a piece of paper glued to a box that is not even the same size as the finished piece. These kits will be limited edition. I'm thinking of using these block printed fabrics. Some of these block prints are naturally dyed, and so the first like series of kits will just be a few of each print. After this, if this goes well, maybe I'll make more pocket altar kits. I don't know, but I also want to be making kits for my Cosmic Charms pieces. I just have to pick which ones, and I will probably be sending out a survey on my email newsletter so you can help me pick out which ones I want to make kits of. So here are the ones that I've made since my last Cosmic Charms video. So this butterfly is a pattern that I drew years ago that I never shared for whatever reason. I don't know, saving it for like God knows what. What am I always saving my art for? Some other thing eventually. But I realized it would probably look so great as a stuffed piece. It was really fun designing it in a new colorway. I am obsessed with this deep magenta fabric. I got like so many yards of it. And then going on with this forest theme, because I have that like fox and this butterfly, and I have this little bunny with sparkling cheeks. I don't love the final shape of this, so I've got some tweaking to do, but I do love the stitches, so that's a good place to be at. And then I made this tree. This will probably not be a kit. I just was running with the forest theme, and I wanted to make some trees for myself. This vase, not on the forest theme, but I had so much fun using a bunch of different stitches and then figuring out how to give it handles, which are just going to be like these twisted yarns. But I think this is like maybe a definite on the kits. This moon, I don't love it. It was just a little too simple, and it didn't really stuff in a way that I liked. The fabric's a little see-through, so you can see the threads on the back, but I still think it's cute. I'm keeping it in the studio, but probably not going to make a kit from it. And finally, I'm working on this winged horse right now, playing with some of the more unique stitches, a little more advanced stitches, like fly stitches on the wings, and then the Peking stitch, I think is what it's called, on the neck here. Again, in my beloved magenta fabric. But I chose to do the wing in a rusty red, and I'm not intentionally fire horse, but I am not mad that it goes with this year's Chinese Lunar New Year theme. Let's just see if I can actually finish the kit this year. The fun part about these Cosmic Charms is, it might not seem like it, but I stopped embroidering for a very long time. Like, not entirely stopped, but I cut back a whole lot. There were months at a time after finishing the Art of Embroidery Design where I just like couldn't even look at a hand sewing needle. I was just like really burnt out on it. I think I sort of overdid a thing I really loved, and I needed to find that love again without having to force myself to do it. And see, That is the problem. That's like my biggest warning with doing what you love as a business. You can very quickly turn it into something you loathe because now you have to do it instead of doing it because you want to do it. So I think this is also why I switched to making that zine last year, because I wanted to play with painting and illustrations and image making without thread. Painting and illustrations are also a lot faster, so you can kind of like get to it. But getting back together with my old friend embroidery has felt so warm, so soft, and so inviting. And the small scale of these pieces, as opposed to trying to make giant embroideries on clothing or big tapestries, the small scale fits in much better with where I'm at in my life now. So I'm still working with this softness. I'm still able to create these kind of imaginary cosmic spaces and creatures, but I can do it with a toddler barking orders at me or doing it over a sleeping baby's head. So as I'm recording this, my baby has just turned 2 months old, so I am like deep in the land of the littles. And at times I'm just in shock. Most of the time, in fact, I'm just like, how am I supposed to ever get anything done ever again? But also really understanding how fast this phase of tiny baby goes by as I watch my 3-year-old just like dressing herself and letting herself out on the back porch after grabbing a snack and stealing my water. Like the level of independence gained after such a short time helps me just go, hold up, wait, I need to savor this tiny scrunch-faced, fat-cheeked helplessness while I can. Even if it means slowing way down on my art making process. And I think in this modern age of seeing all the things being made all the time by all the people in a simple 5-minute scroll on Instagram, it can be so easy to feel like, oh no, I ruined my art career by stopping working for even just a second. But this is real life. This is here and now with these kids. This is a time for bonding and connection that I will be fondly reminiscing on forever, so I might as well try and be in it. This came a lot from what I learned from the book 4,000 Week. It is time to just accept the fact that I can't do it all. Savor that fact even. Lower the bar for what I expect of myself and how much I can produce, or even what productivity looks like. And I hate that term now. And I just like, every day I'm just like, I made an entire freaking human. Like, how are we just pretending that this is normal and not an incredible feat worthy of more than just a few weeks off of work? Like, every time I look at somebody with an infant, I'm like, how did you do that? How do we do this? This is incredible. But it's not really time off work because I'm making meals and raising a toddler and cleaning a house, and that is all work. And I'm not doing that all by myself, by the way. My guy puts in just as much effort and all of that. There is very much an equal distribution of labor in our house. And as for my older kid, now I get to really enjoy when I have alone time with her, when the baby is napping in his crib or he's napping on his dad, and me and my daughter go work in my studio or play outside. And it's like, this phase is also temporary. This person is also growing and changing and will only be excited to be sitting here with me for so long, sitting at my studio table, painting with me, or making fabric faces, or just like making a freaking mess, honestly, is what she does mostly in here. But it's a creative mess. It's like, I'm watching these like new synapses being fired and new ideas being manifested, new materials being discovered. Like, how absolutely remarkable is this? Yet it can so easily be perceived as boring and like, oh my gosh, this is tedious if I'm not like paying attention. And this is not just about catering to my own existence, my own excitement. When I step into the sense of discovery and exploration alongside my kid, she has so much more fun as well. So I've been trying to loosen up a little bit and let her make a bit of a mess. Let her do things wrong. Let her make up her own games and stories for how things work in the studio without being like, no, this is what we're doing right now. This is how you have to do it. She's even like sitting next to me at the sewing machine thanks to this. Okay. And I have a hot tip for toddler parents. If you want to get to sew for more than 5 minutes, I have this game that we have invented. She kind of invented it, honestly. Okay. So I'm the school bus driver. She doesn't take the bus to school yet, but she loves the idea since she knows that the big kids do it. So I'm the school bus driver. She's got a chair behind me. I am sitting at my sewing machine. She's a kid on the school bus. The sewing machine is the engine. I drive the school bus, which is basically just me using the sewing machine. And when I stop, one of 3 things is happening. 1, we are at a stop sign. We're at a stop sign, sweetie. So that is me, making a quick stop to turn a corner or something on my project. Number 2, we're in traffic. Oh, there's a lot of traffic here. So that is when I'm working around a corner or a curve, or I need to slow down the machine for whatever reason. I'm doing something kind of like slow. Or, and here's where you can really make this last forever. We're picking up a friend. So that's when I say, so who are we picking up next? Emmy? Okay, great. Let's drive to Emmy's house. I'm sewing seams, I'm getting a bunch of stuff done. There's some stop signs and traffic in between. And then when she gets bored, here's Emmy. Get on the bus, Emmy. Welcome. How are you doing? Emmy's here. And I ask her, where to next? And she calls out the next kid. And I keep sewing. It is one of my favorite games to play with her. And it's one of those things, it's worked out for months. It's not just a one-hit wonder. She gets to tell me what to do. I get sewing done and everyone is happy. Highly recommend that for you. I feel like it might work for older kids too. I don't know. How long can you make a kid sit behind you in a chair? Okay. So that's basically all I've got. That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm making. That's what I'm thinking about right now. And that is what's coming up in the studio. And that is my very hot tip for keeping toddlers occupied while getting some creative time in. Let me know what you think. I love to read your comments. Even when I don't have time to answer them all, there is a 99% chance that what you wrote made me smile or laugh or just feel a little more connected to the outside world when my inside world feels so very small. I will be back in a few weeks with a tour of the pocket altars I made while dreaming up my pocket altar kits, and more on the process of making them and the process of making the zine and the kits, so you can see behind the scenes on all of that. Okay, I hope you enjoy. Bye. Head to mixedcolor.net for more. Oh, and I think this is the point where I'm supposed to ask you to like and subscribe, I guess.